Okay, welcome. Today we're discussing mats. What is the best mat? What will get me my gold? What will take and capture everything that I just stick it in there and run? The correct answer to this is none. There is no one best this, that, or the other. You'll see all these different mats do different things. Miner's moss is set to catch a particular type of gold. It will not catch large nuggets typically. You have different, let me see if I can get that. You'll notice here, he's running two different types of matting, but that means he's only going to catch two types of gold, and that is going to depend on his angle, on the water speed, on the water depth flowing through that sluice. Yeah, there's a lot to be calculated for in what do I want to use. You have to look at what equipment are you using. You can have two sluices that are manufactured identical from the same company, and they will operate differently if you're on a different stream, if you're using different matting. One may be more productive than the other. You could run it out of the same hole. And again, your changes in angle, your changes in water depth, water speed, your changes in matting, everything will have an effect. It's like the chaos effect. You change one aspect, it is going to have an effect on every other interconnected aspect dealing with that sluice. So, what I tell people is you need to consider first, what kind of stream are you running? How deep is the water? How much can you angle or not angle that sluice? How wide is the waterway? Do you want to use a 10-inch sluice? Do you want to use a 6-inch sluice? Do you want to use a 20-inch wide sluice? All of these will affect what you put in that sluice as far as riffles, matting, moss, grate, or anything else. Then you have to also, hopefully, after doing some panning, have a good idea of the dimensions of the gold that you're looking for. How thick is it? What's the largest? I mean, if I go to the Kotze, very flat, very thin. If I go to the Rhine, the stuff is micrograde, 200, 300 mesh. So once again, I would use, even if I was using the same identical sluice, I would be using a different angle and different matting for those areas. I cannot stress that enough. If you have not watched the Gold Hog proportional force video at goldhog.com, and you are totally new to this with no understanding of how a lot of this stuff works mechanically, you really need to go look at that before investing a lot in mats. I have made digital mats. I have cut forms and made my own silicone mats. I have bought matting and hand cut it to what I wanted. I've tried all different variations. All of them will capture gold. All of them will work to a degree. So, I mean, here, this is a 3D printed mat. Now, I'm not really sure what dimensions he was looking at doing that for, putting that big block on there. But I hope he had a reason for it. These high flows, when those go through there, you got to have a lot of either fast or deep water to get it over that. Otherwise, everything's going to bunch up. It won't pass and keep feeding. This is why I have both high flow. I have high flow and low flow mats. This right here is your typical old wooden format of your angled riffles. This is a block format for catching fine gold. Each of these are for different things. Another thing that I have noticed is a big popular move right now is the vortex mats. The vortex mats are good. They will catch fine gold. The dilemma is with a vortex mat, you need high water flow or high water pressure for it to work efficiently. It will catch it in low, but it's not going to kick those larger pieces out of those little pocket sockets. So again, you have to know what river or stream you're working. You need to know the size of gold you're wanting to catch. You need to know what the current, I can go to one stream. I can go to the Schwartz, or the Schwarze, I forget how it's pronounced. I can go there, and if it's high water, I'm dealing with extremely aggressive water flow. June, July, August time frame, the water is very low, and I'm now having to deal the same spot, the same river, with a totally different aspect of proportional force. So, you need to take these things into consideration when you're looking at what is the best. It shouldn't be what is the best mat or what is the best riffles. Your question should be what is the best matting or riffle material for me to use on this particular location in my specific sluice design. If you can answer that question, then you will capture larger quantities of gold. When they do these tests, a lot of times they will preload the material. So what you're seeing is not actually catching it, or I should say, it may not actually be catching what is on that particular stream. Today we're on a stream and we're going to run a bucket load of gravel. Right. That bucket load of gravel, in many cases, they brought from their house. It's been preloaded, and when they throw it in there, oh, look at all the gold that I caught. You really need to buy this mat, or you really need to buy this sluice. If that mat was so wonderful and was so great, why are they not out getting the gold at currently $1,700 a troy ounce, rather than selling these things at 60 and 70 euro a pop? And that is because the people who sell the stuff usually make more money than the people who's hunting for the gold. So let us move on and take a look at my current sluice setup, which is it's 3.5 meters. It's got my catch box. I'll be running some test runs on it. I'm not going to go through everything on the test run, but I'll show you some of the basics so you can understand and see different ways of calculating what you may need or may not need for your sluice in your matting material.
There's no one best mat. There's no one best great. There's no one best anything. Now, like this is my old Gold Hog sluice that I've, as you can tell, if you've ever seen a Gold Hog multi-sluice, it doesn't look like this. I've modified that to go into my sluice former. I'm running a speed test. I've got this new pump. It's a 3,700 pump. And I want to see just what I get out of this little baby. Because that will allow me to move over 3 meters of distance from the water. But this is it set up. It's over 3 meters. It's a bit wobbly at the moment because I'm having to use that holding box in the back, and because of the angle going down, trying to keep it level is causing me a bit of a quandary there. But it will do the job for a test. And what I'm going to do is run pre-classified material through the feeder box and time it as it runs down. Now, this is a very low banking. Most people run 13, 14, 10-degree angle. I have this set at a 6, that set at a 3, that set at a 1. So it should, like a natural stream, bring it down, slow it down, and then drop it into my measuring bin. My measuring bin, then I can tell how much material is moving down and reaching the end in any particular amount of time. And that's the key. There are a lot of calculations. You can go on the internet and find how to calculate material movement and water speed. Watch the Gold Hog proportional force video. I push that a lot because it is good. Okay, especially for people who are not familiar with how that works. But you'll notice, even with this set up, I still have all these assorted angled connectors for secondary angles on the top. I've got different feeder sections. I've got different sized flow boxes that will replace this one to do my flow ratios, depending upon how long this is, the angle that it is, which mats I'm using. Even some of these mats in here, like this mat here, that's a double-sided mat. Okay. I can literally flip these mats over, and I've got a totally different matting system, anywhere from a slick plate to a high ridge. And even with that, I still have more mats in here. Now this one is my real aggressive mat. It's one long piece, and this is where if I'm running real high water, I'll be using that sucker. You'll see how high that is. Okay. Now, because of that pump being so aggressive, I may have to put this one in there just to keep everything from being washed down. Because if it's not catching material in that first 50 centimeters, if I'm not catching material by the time it comes out of this box and reaches that pole, if I've not got material working in there, if it's getting flushed out, my angle is too high or my matting is wrong. Because I currently cannot adjust for the water speed. Once I put a gauge on there and I can adjust that, that'll be a different venue. So until I can make that happen, we're stuck with what I've got. And we'll get ready to start a test run. All right, so this, again, the parts I'm about to put in is from my old Gold Hog multi-sluice. And you'll notice I've got a 1-inch hole. This will take it down to a 1/2 inch. And then this will take it down even further. So by doing this, I can regulate how much water is coming through there. Since this pump does not build pressure, it won't blow everything out. Let's kick it back up and run some of this sand through there and check it. Okay, I moved down to the pond. It gives me a higher bank angle to test on. And now you'll notice we've got this running. You'll notice here, I'm not getting a water flow on that. So I've got to angle that a little bit. I may have to bring this down. It's just, I think it's just the matting has buckled up on me. Now, what you'll notice is in here, you'll see these bubbles. This is where people are complaining, I've got bubbles. Either one, your system's running too fast and it's kicking up bubbles. You'll notice back there, it comes out. That's what my flow boxes are for. But what I'm going to do is I got two different brushes depending upon the depth of my things. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take this brush and I'm going to run it down and I'm going to clean those air pockets out. And I'm going to do that the entire length. Now you'll notice there is no air pockets in there. My feeder box is a little leaky, but it's doing what it's supposed to. Eventually there'll be another hose that feeds into this that's more reliable. So we go down, I clean. Now I've got all my air pockets out. Now if I start seeing air pockets in there, I know it's something to do either with my angle or my water flow. So let's go ahead, feed this little puppy and do a count. We run our test run, and if you'll notice, most of that in here is nothing but black sand. And as I get further down, I even get larger where it's, by having the different matting, what is missed at one point is captured at another. Okay? Different size matting. Putting one set of riffles in a sluice or one set of moss will not capture everything.